Begin. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jamie Schenker-Passero. I'm the Associate Director of the Temple Small Business Development Center. Today, we are joined by different lenders and staff of BB&T Bank. And today, we're going to be talking about cash flow. If you are not familiar with the Temple Small Business Development Center, we assist small businesses to start and grow. And we do that with consulting, which is now happening via Zoom or over the phone. And that's one-on-one and at no cost. And we also are doing virtual training events like this one. So we have a calendar of events. Some upcoming ones will focus on the hospitality and restaurant industry, and we'll also be launching some webinars focused on e-commerce. So those are things to look forward to. We are also keeping up to date on a lot of different resources, and I'll share our resource page where we're housing all that information. It also has our bank of recorded webinars that we've been doing over the past few months. If you have any questions about the SBDC, you can feel free to speak to me. Since we are expecting a small group for tonight, I think it would be fine for any attendees to unmute themselves if you have a question. That way we can keep it more interactive. For now, I'm going to pass it over to Shay, who will introduce the BB&T team for this evening.
All right. Thank you so much, Amy. Thanks to all the participants and all the panelists. Well, my name is Shay Olagunju. I'm a financial wellness consultant with BB&T, now Truist. We're so excited to be here with you guys, especially during this uncertain times with the COVID-19. I hope you and your family are well. As Jamie said earlier, our goal tonight is to share some knowledge with you guys around practices for your small businesses that I believe is time tested, and I believe will definitely be helpful going forward in light of all that is going on in our economy right now. So some of this stuff is rudimentary, but at the same time, I believe there's a lot of it that I think will speak to you and really give you some tools and some guidelines to be able to be successful in your business going forward. BB&T, now Truist, is a financial institution which really is really committed to the community and making a difference and making sure that we're able to give back anytime we can. The beauty of our organization and why we're doing this today and partnering with the Small Business Development Center in Temple is really because of our history. With 275 years of combined history between SunTrust and BB&T, a new financial institution was created called Truist, and that's why you hear me say BB&T, now Truist. Extremely excited and proud of our joint legacies of SunTrust and BB&T, and part of that is really understanding community banking, how we can be of help to business owners like yourself in the community. And as our organization, we love to really give back in many ways. And so this evening, we're going to be speaking a little bit to you guys about some things within small business through a program that we call Growing Your Business. The Growing Your Business program has been ran across the United States, helped a lot of small businesses like yourself, business owners like yourself. And so we're excited to bring that to you guys today. Specifically, we'll be focusing on cash flow, a little bit of merchant service, and borrowing solutions. I think those three topics are very apropos for this time in our economy for business owners like yourself. So to help us do that, I have some of my teammates here with me from BB&T, now Truist. Brahma Idris is one of the market leaders, which actually we call them now branch leaders.
Branch leaders, yeah.
Yes, branch leaders in Philadelphia. I'll let him introduce more of himself and what branch he covers. But Brahma is very experienced, one of our small business development experts in the community, really making a difference. Also manages a branch in center in Philadelphia as well. And then we also have Andres who's also a branch leader who's very experienced as well, done a number of this seminars, and I'm excited to have him here as well. He'll be covering merchant services. We have Josie Vera, who's also in Philadelphia, who's extremely experienced as well in banking, as also an expert as a small business specialist as well. And she's here as well to speak a little to you guys about borrowing solutions. And then we're also excited to have with us tonight one of our great partners from ADP, who's going to be speaking to you guys as well. And her name is Devin Heshpet, and we're excited to have her as well. So I'm going to pass the ball on to Brahma to get things started for us this evening. So thank you guys so much. There will be questions that you guys have in each section. We will give you room to be able to do that. And as Jamie said earlier, we want to keep this in the family, right? We want to be able to have dialogue. And so feel free to ask questions as we go along. And I will share some more information later at the end of the call. Thank you so much. Brahma, take it away.
Thank you, Shay. Jamie, thank you as well. I think what you guys are doing at the Small Business Development Center for future entrepreneurs is really great. And for us to have an opportunity to speak with business owners around ways they can help optimize the performance of their business and help their business develop and grow is really a great thing. I'll start off with introducing myself. My name is Brahma Idris, one of the virtual panelists today, as well as a branch leader at the 17th and Market Street branch in Center City. I've been in the financial service industry for roughly 8 years. 2 of those 8 years I have worked at BB&T, now Truist. And what I enjoy most about working at BB&T is just the opportunity as today that allows me to speak with individuals around ways to put themselves in a better financial position. Now, as far as the attendees, I don't know, do you guys have a participant's guide available to you?
So that was sent out, and we're also sharing it on the screen now. But that was sent out.
Awesome, awesome. That's great. That participant's guide will be a good resource as we go throughout the presentation and talk about the different topics around making your business successful. One topic in which we will be covering today is cash flow. And as Shay had mentioned, cash flow is a very pertinent topic amidst all that's going on with the COVID-19 pandemic. Businesses have found themselves in a pinch of sorts when they're looking for sources of funds to help move the business along. It's always great to have a source of emergency funds because you aren't sure of when something unexpected is due to happen. Jamie, do you have the video in which we can showcase the cash flow? Are you able to present that?
Yeah, just give me a minute.
Yep. So as Jamie's preparing that, this first video we'll be showing, we'll just outplay some information regarding cash flow. We'll have some pertinent information on analyzing funds that are coming into the business, and as well as determining where those funds will be going to. In your participants guide, there is a cash flow foundations form found on page 6. This is a great resource that we use whenever we're meeting with a client, just to get a better understanding, a deeper dive, if you will, of how their business operates. We ask questions around who's our clients' customers, how do they traditionally pay them, or how would they like to be paid moving forward? When we look at ways in which they make payments, you know, are they using ACH, wires, online bill paying services, checks, cash, and as well as how they are paying themselves, because that's also a very important component when running a business, is you want to ensure that you're paying yourself and paying yourself properly, and as well making sure that you can easily reconcile that information and accounting information when needed. I know with the PPP loans, the Paycheck Protection Program that's been funded through the CARES Act, having your payroll documentation in line and readily available has made a great impact on whether or not you are able to get the refund, the sources of funds that you need in order to get the business up and running and to pay your staff as well. So Jamie, you have that video?
Yeah, I do. It's the one, is it called Grow Your Business 3? Because that's the first one that I have.
Yeah, yep, that's it. So what we'll do now is play a little video on the cash flow presentation to give you better insight on what cash flow is all about.
All right, you see it?
Yeah, I can't see it, but I should be able to hopefully hear that. Yep. Mm-hmm. And Jamie, you can let me know when that video is completed.
Sure. Okie doke.
All right, thank you, Jamie. So yeah, in the video, it talks some really good information just around cash flow, budgeting.
Sorry, one quick second. It looks like someone wasn't able to hear the sound. We can send the links out after. I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure why that would be the case. But we can send the links out after to anyone who wasn't able to hear it.
Certainly, certainly. And just kind of recapping the video, it mentions some really good ideas around and the importance of having a cash flow budgeting to help estimate what your income and expenses will look like. That way, it can allow you to make better business decisions. You can decide on, whether it's a good idea to hire a new employee, or maybe purchase more inventory, or maybe start running that ad campaign to help drum up more business. The idea of identifying whether or not your business is having positive or negative cash flow is really important, because you want to see at the end of the day that you're making some profit, some income is being generated from the business, and even seeing if the enterprise is worth pursuing. The cash flow foundations, which I already mentioned, is a really good way to keep track of funds, of how cash is coming into and out of the business. And to just be a really good way to keep track of that. Next, we'll have a video that takes a little deeper dive. If you look on, if you have your participants guides in front of you on workbook page 7, will show a cash flow statement. So this is getting a little bit more into the nitty gritty of how exactly those dollars are being utilized to help operate the business. And then from there, you can kind of see, well, there may be opportunities for us to trim spending on utility or internet service or advertising running, anything along those lines that can help supplement and put more cash into the business. Because as with anything else, if you're able to cut costs, you're able to increase profits and also increase margins for your business. So Jamie, if you're able to, you can play the next video for the cash flow. Should be video 4.
So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the link in so that everybody can follow along, because I think there were some issues with the sound not coming out clear with the screen share.
Oh,
but
gotcha. Okay.
I think I'll do that, and then I'll share the screen and pull it up anyway. I'll do
Gotcha.
both.
At this point, I want to pose to the attendees if there's any question you would like to bring up or have a top of mind. Around cash flow?
And I will share my screen, and I'll make sure the volume's all the way up for this one, all right?
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. As we're waiting for that, I'll make a mention, because we often have clients, especially new business owners.
Did you want me to pause it?
Is it playing now?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yep. Hold on. Thank you.
And then I also linked it in the chat so people could follow along.
Awesome.
But I tried to turn the volume all the way up. So
okay.
Do you want me to play it through?
Yep, you can play it through.
Okay. All right.
Payable and accounts receivable processes. Outsourcing time-consuming tasks such as payroll can save your business a lot of time and money. Also consider getting rid of outdated and unused equipment. Even if replacing equipment seems daunting, having the right technology will streamline your processes. You can also boost your cash flow by reevaluating the pricing and your products or services. It might be time to increase prices, as it widens your margins and frees up cash for business growth. As a business owner, you should always be seeking to increase prices over time, so that you can improve your profit margins and keep up with inflation. You will have to find the right price point that helps boost your cash flow while not resulting in lost sales. But a cash flow statement isn't just useful for you. Business partners, customers, vendors, and lenders pay attention to a company's income and expenses to determine elements such as profitability, cost management, and liquidity. Keeping good records, like a detailed cash flow statement, will also help you with taxes. Make sure you're saving receipts, canceled checks, recording all business expenses, and not underreporting your income. Take some time to talk with your coach if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie. That's great. So everyone was able to hear that?
Yes.
Awesome. So, that video talked some really good points. The importance really of keeping track of funds that are coming into and out of the business. Whenever you're looking at your expenditures, Finding ways in which you can help increase the margin. They briefly talked about looking at your prices. You know, is this something that, you know, you may want to look at doing an increase for to help establish more profit into the business? You know, that certainly could be an option to look at as a business owner. Cash flow in general, you have some levers in which you could look to pull, but the most important component is making sure you're keeping track of how the business is performing and how money is flowing through the business in order to, you know, make adjustments as needed. So at this time, I want to just pull it over to the attendees and sort of ask of how are ways in which they can maybe look to improving their own cash flow with their business. Any volunteers that want to share? Okay, that's fine. There could be great ways in which, as I mentioned before, looking at your utilities, your rents. If there's maybe a vehicle you have that you want to look to refinance to make the cost less burden on the business, those are definitely great options. Revisiting maybe insurance policies that you have through the business, general liability coverage. You may be able to touch base with a broker to see if they're able to give you the same service at a more competitive cost. Anything in which you can do to sort of see of where the funds in your business are going. You know, are you finding yourself taking maybe too many dining and entertainment meals with business clients? You know, is that something that you would have to look to lean in? These can all be great measures, but the most important key would be to look to ensure that you're keeping track of where money is going in the business. Now, earlier I touched on the cash flow foundations chart, which at the bottom of page 6 in the participants guide lists payroll services. So luckily enough, we have the opportunity of having Devin on the call, as payroll services is a very important component of what's currently going on now with the PPP loans. And it's oftentimes we found that business owners haven't done the proper due diligence of ensuring that all their documentation is up to par and that they have their proper withholding and proper tax documentation to present in the off event of something like this happening, where you would have to have those documents ready. So, Devin, I don't know if there's anything you can speak on about the importance of payroll you would like to add.
Yeah, thanks, Brima, and thanks everyone for all of your time. I'll just add a couple things. Brima kind of touched on the reporting aspect when it comes to the PPP loans, and we're certainly talking about that pretty much daily these days, and not only the PPP, but also the loan forgiveness. So we have been able to help out our clients when it comes to the reporting necessary to apply for both of those. But I wanted to add a couple of topics that are regular conversations that I'm having with my partners, like everyone, all the panelists from BB&T, but also all of my clients, and that's around cash flow in general. So a few things that we are able to help out on the ADP side of things are things like the video mentioned tax penalties. So by allowing ADP to come in and automatically calculate, collect, file, and deposit those payroll taxes, you're actually avoiding any potential tax penalties. Also, by outsourcing your payroll, you're able to verify all of the cash requirements before you're even hitting that approve button. So kind of eliminating those NSF fees that you could potentially get hit with. You can have a chance to stop, check the cash requirement before you even hit your approve button. And then helping out with things like unwarranted unemployment claims. ADP will actually help our clients go through the process of fighting those unwarranted claims. And then finally, things around the human capital management side of things. So integrating your timekeeping to prevent any of your employees that could potentially be quote unquote stealing time from you. So they're clocking in and clocking out and you're not facing any of those payments that are unwarranted. So those are just some of the things that I talk to my clients about on a regular basis, but certainly around the COVID as well, helping out with the reporting aspect, like Brima said. But just wanted to mention those things as just to keep in mind that could potentially be affecting your bottom line when you are looking at cash flow, because some of those things might not be top of mind. So just wanted to add that, but I'll throw it back to you, Brahma.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I've worked on Devin, partnered with her with a few clients of ours. And what I usually stress when talking with a client is mentioning that, you know, their focus really should be the business and ways to help optimize and grow their company. And, you know, if you have the opportunity to outsource and take some of that workload off of yourself so that you can focus on the task at hand, and then have, you know, partner up with a person like Devin who can take care of all that IRS and compliance that's required, that can really put you in a better position to do best for your business, for sure. So what I'll do now, before leaving this topic, I did want to touch on, because I notice a lot of our clients, or not our new clients, often have mobile payment apps. So those are your Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Shopify, and all to accept payments, and in some cases to do their banking. And you know, any of those, whether it's a mobile payment app or if you decide to use a merchant service, what Andreas will talk about, these can be good tools to use as a supplement to an already established, you know, business banking account, a business checking account. But I would be cautious in the sense where you're using these tools to replace your business banking altogether, because you still want to be able to talk with the person and get the customer service you need. There may be situations where, you know, you need help with resolving an issue, and you know they're only giving you a very bland email return once you send a issue to them. Being able to validate funds. So when you look at when your business is applying for a loan or line of credit, you know, it's a little tough when the underwriter only sees deposits from a Cash App or Venmo or PayPal to determine the source of those funds. And then, of course, FDIC insurance would be something to question with the mobile payment apps. But those are sort of things to keep in top of mind if you decide to utilize, you know, mobile payment apps more than just the transferring and of funds into the business account there. So something to definitely keep top of mind. At this point, I just want to turn it over to the attendees to see if they have any questions. All right, awesome.
You can unmute yourselves if you'd like.
Okay, I'll take that as a no. And just to finish off, as far as cash flow, it encompasses tracking funds that come into the account, seeing ways in which you can optimize cash into the business. If there's ways in which you can increase margin, those are things to take a look at when you go to make a business decision on a major purchase, and you see that your cash flow maybe is seasonal. It may decide when you decide to purchase new equipment or new vehicle. Those are definitely things to consider, and keeping track of your budget, as we do with household budgets too, you know, to determine will we have enough funds to make the purchase that we're looking to make, is something definitely all business owners need to consider. So with that, Andreas, I'll turn it over to you for the merchant services.
Thank you, Brima, and thank you everyone for having us. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to go over a couple of things that hopefully will be beneficial, you know, for you in the long run. First of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Andre Sarango. I am a branch leader for the Fishtown office, which is on York Street, and the Girard office on 2nd and Girard. I've been in banking for about 13 years. And then one of the things that really what I enjoy about banking is really educating and going out and helping the communities and see if I can instill my knowledge and hopefully make a difference in someone else's lives. especially around small business. So one of the things that I wanted to cover is merchant services and how Brian mentioned, it is one of the things that will help you with cash flow. I know there are times where you accept cash, but with nowadays being in the 21st century, you really want to get up to speed with technology. There's been different options and different ways where you can accept cash as form of payment. So I really wanted to, Jamie, if you can play the clip for me, which will give them an insight as to what merchant services is.
So which one?
That should be the second link.
I think it might be the fifth one.
The fifth one, yeah. Grow Your Business number 5.
Okay. Oh, and there was a question. Cash flows would be more for a monthly budget. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. When you're looking at the cash flow, if you're able to break it down into a monthly budget, as mentioned in that participants workbook, they have January, February, March, April, May, but you can utilize a tool like that to stretch it out for a whole month's in, and that way you can get a better idea of some frequencies and some normalities in the business and what the business cycles sort of look like, and you can determine, major purchases, or should I start to set aside cash, or maybe look into getting a line of credit because I know I'm about to approach the lull season in my business. So you can list that as a monthly thing, and in even some cases, depending on the volume of the business, you could even approach it on a daily basis too.
All right, and I'm going to share the video now. And I also shared the link.
Come back. Next, we'll take a few minutes to discuss how merchant services can help your business increase sales and streamline your cash flow. Merchant services providers can help you find the right payments processing technology to keep your business growing, increase operational efficiencies, help with money management, and lead to better customer experiences. As online payments, credit and debit cards, and contactless payments gain popularity, make sure your business is equipped with the right tools and technology to accept payments all the time, anywhere. Today's consumers enjoy ease and convenience, and as a business owner, you should provide them the flexibility and freedom to pay for your services and products the way they want to. Merchant services providers can help you keep up with the constantly changing world of payments by enabling your business to take swipe, chip, and contactless payments from your sales counter, tablet, mobile phone, or website. Consumers want ease, but they also want safety. When customers hand you their card, they expect you to safeguard that data. Data security offerings protect both your business and your customers' sensitive information. Cash and time are two of your most precious resources. So spending some time organizing and optimizing your cash flow will help maximize both.
Okay, so merchant services is one of the critical pieces nowadays where most businesses, it'll help them really streamline their cash flow and increase their sales. It'll help them also grow on their own small business. What I've found is that some businesses will just accept cash, and you find that can't, at times it's not that convenient for most people nowadays. For example, myself, I really deal with a lot of plastic, debit cards and credit cards, and when I come to a place where I have to keep cash on hand, that's just it takes me away from that business because I like the convenience and just the fast pace of how I can make those purchases. And so that's something that you may want to consider in obtaining. There's different providers out there with different products and tools. You just have to get some knowledge and get some education around, which product does the merchant service, which product the merchant services is better suits me in regards to the amount of volume I do on a daily basis. Just know that Not every product will be beneficial for every small business. For example, there's going to be some handheld devices which are more inexpensive than other ones where you actually have to swipe or enter the chip and there's a monitor. So you just have to educate yourself, find out, ask your provider as to what options do you have so I can also maximize on my expenses. At the end of the day, there will be costs to having merchant services, and so you want to be more very smart about keeping those expenses low so that you can grow your small business. Also, you want to ask the provider, with me signing up with you, you charge an extra fee for doing American Express or Discover or MasterCard. Is there any extra charges of obtaining cards manually over the phone? Is there an extra charge for that, or is it the same cost for just obtaining that form of payment? So as you'll find out that some merchant services will charge extra fees for obtaining payments over the phone, just because it's not that secured. So there's a cost of getting that back to the merchant where the customer may file a claim. But merchant services is a good tool to have just so that you can build your cash flow. One of the things that I recommend my small businesses is to set up a separate account for merchant services. That way you keep it more organized and keep it more up to speed with your everyday payments that you're gathering from your customers. It's a better way to keep track of the statements of what you are getting as a credit. So the rule of thumb usually is you want to have the main operating account for your everyday expenses, your purchases, and then you want to have a payroll account. And then one of the third accounts that I recommend my small business clients is to obtain a merchant services account as well. It just keeps them more streamlined and organized. As you'll find out, there's different ways that consumers are getting their products, and that can be versus a smartwatch. That can be with a mobile phone. Nowadays, as you know, with this pandemic, a lot of people have been doing online purchases. Actually, that percentage increased over 50% in the past 3 months. So people are doing more online purchases, and it seems like that might be a trend going forward. So that's something that you may want to consider. Also, see if the merchant services aligns with your website. That's another avenue, another resource where you can bring in your cash flow. That's pretty much it. The gist of what merchant services is just another tool. It's a good tool and a good resource to have. Does anybody have any questions around merchant services? And Brahma, if you have anything to chime in, go ahead.
I would actually, Andreas, I would definitely like to add when you're talking about your business and able to expedite the cash coming into it. I think merchant service can definitely improve some of our clients' accounts receivables. If you find your accounts receivables, which is basically services you've already provided, you've billed an invoice to the client, and now you're just waiting to get the cash. If you're waiting for a check or cash, that may take it may be a little longer process. But if you're able to provide the service and they can pay you via online, or if you're in person and have a mobile device there, you're able to take that payment right there and be able to inject money into the business. So definitely a great option. And an added bonus is it looks really professional. If you have customers of yours and they're only doing check or cash, but having a credit card accepting or credit card processing really is a great addition to your business, and also it's good to have for your clients as well.
One of the things that I also wanted to piggyback on that is it keeps you it allows you to have a paper trail. With nowadays
Yeah.
Bigger banks and most banks will even look into how much cash you're bringing in, and they may charge you a monthly fee for for exceeding a total amount of cash that you bring into the business account. So you also may want to consider into eliminating those fees, and that's one way with the merchant services, because everything will be batched through the night, and then one full deposit will be just deposited into the account. So that's something that you also may want to consider. When it comes to paper trail, at times when you're accepting cash, you get a receipt. Most clients will just throw that in the trash. With merchant services, you even have the option to getting it emailed, or just it's a good way for you to even if you want to shop around. So keep in mind that you don't, even if you are with one merchant provider, doesn't mean that you have to stay with them for life. You can always shop around to see who can get you a better rate. So that's something that you can also look into when looking at depleting or decreasing your expenses.
Definitely.
If I might add something really quickly to merchant services, one of the advantages also in a risk environment that we find ourselves today in terms of security and fraud, having the right type of merchant services set up, it will really mitigate that risk for you, and not expose you. Some merchant services, not all merchant services are the same. I'll put it that way. Importance of understanding who carries the liability in the case of fraud, maybe a card, issue, maybe someone, clones a card. If you might have heard that term before. You want to make sure that your business is protected as well against any lawsuits that might come from information being out there for your clients, card information. But having a reputable merchant service provider is really, really important, as Andrea said, and what Brahma said as well, making sure that you're shopping around to see who can give you the best coverage, best pricing, but also on the security end of things as well. It's really, really important in today's market.
Any questions?
There is a
related services?
Yeah, there is a related question. How would merchant services be included in startup costs? If not, what are some things you should consider when thinking of startup costs?
So, like in regards to purchasing the item itself, or
I think just as general as possible would probably be helpful.
I would say just look into their products. So with each provider, you may be able to do like everything else, shop around, see who can give you more of the convenience, the flexibility. Like Brahma mentioned, that Cash App, the Venmo, those are good tools, but they're not always the best, especially when you have issues with getting cash into your account, or if you have something as a claim that you want to file, like a fraudulent claim. It's very difficult to get a hold of someone. Sometimes they'll just accept an email. That's at times I've found out that that's the only way of contact between the merchant provider and the customer. So having a live person or even a banker who can connect you with the merchant provider will definitely help ease that transaction or whatever you want to resolve. But definitely in regards to the pricing is looking at, hey, are you offering any type of promotions, and for how long? At times they'll offer 3 months, 6 months, whatever the case may be. Sometimes they'll even put free equipment for so many months. So that's one of the things that you may want to do a little bit more homework. Do they charge an annual fee? Things like that. So that's something that it's not a one set of answers. It's just they'll take a look at each business individually, just because each business has their own way of doing things and their own volume as well.
Yeah, definitely not a one size fits all.
Yeah, and I would add it's often difficult to get a quote without having a sit down conversation with a banker. So that might be something that you might want to consider and sit down with a few just so you can get a sense of what that might be for your business.
Correct. Any other questions?
I'm not seeing any.
All right, I think now then, Andreas, we can probably look to doing the borrowing solutions. We'll play our last clip here. When looking at borrowing solutions for your business, raising capital, being able to make major purchases, but it's sort of more important of what is your game plan for the funds to have that in place first. Oftentimes, you can have a business owner that may look to apply for a loan or line of credit, but there needs to be a conversation first of, well, what is the plan for the proceeds, and how are you going to use that in your business to help optimize the performance there. As far as looking at your credit, so if you're first starting off, of course, establishing business credit may be a bit of a challenge. Oftentimes, banks may use you as the owner to vouch for the business, so you will be presented as a grantor or co-signer for the business. So it's important, as this video will show, to make sure that you have your personal credit in place and address any issues on that, because that will definitely be a determining factor on whether you get approved and for how much, and the terms and things of that nature. So
I agree with you, Brimo. Yes, it's really looking at both sides. So we won't only look at the business credit, but we will also look at the personal credit. Just because it's the credit at the end of the day, once the approval comes through, yes, it will be under the business entity, but at the end of the day, you are the guarantor. You are responsible for that debt as well. It won't show in your personal credit history or debt to income, but it can potentially also affect you.
Correct, definitely. Jamie, if you're able to play that.
I'll play it in one moment. There was a question: how would a merchant provider be different from having a financial advisor or accountant?
So as far as
go ahead, Brimo.
Yeah, I was going to say, as far as a financial advisor and merchant services, so a financial advisor would be looking at the bigger picture. So that would be a go-to or partner, a financial partner, if you will, that can help you make decisions for one of maybe adding merchant service to your business. A merchant service is really just a way in which you could get payments from your clients for services that you've provided to them. But a financial advisor really can give you guidance on the bigger picture, take a comprehensive look at what you have going on and sort of guide you through decisions with that. But, like adding a merchant services to your business.
Yes, correct. So a financial advisor or an accountant, they're just a partner. The merchant services is a tool of how you can collect money or how you can add money into your business and how you can make your business grow. So at times, financial advisors may not be the experts around, the ins and outs of merchant services. So that's why you always want to have a lender, someone that has a little bit more knowledge around what merchant services are, or if they can connect you with a merchant services representative from a financial institution. That way you can speak to a professional and someone who does this on a daily basis. A financial advisor does not do this on a daily basis. They can only recommend you should have merchant services, but they won't know the ins and outs. So that's something that they, like Brimo said, they'll look at it more of a holistic picture for you.
That's a good question. Good question.
Yes.
Okay, I can move to that video now.
Thank you, Jamie.
I also posted it in case there are issues. Give me one second. You see it? Or I can
Let's resume our discussion on ways to grow your business. Whether it's for startup costs or capital for expanding, eventually most businesses need to borrow money. We spoke earlier to the benefit of having a business credit card to use for business expenses. Now, let's discuss the potential benefits of having a business loan or line of credit. Of those businesses that seek credit, many seek loans or lines of credit. Loans and lines can help accelerate your business's growth, overcome problems in cash flow, and they will not dilute your equity. Business loans and lines of credit function like any other loan, with the condition that the funds are used for business-related purposes. A business loan or line of credit can be used for a variety of purposes: purchasing a building, financing short-term operating needs, buying new equipment, consolidating existing business debt, or simply ensuring convenient access to funds when you need them. Let's discuss the difference between a term loan and a revolving line of credit. Term loans carry a fixed term for a specified dollar amount. Businesses agree to repay the loan with a set payment schedule. This is a good option because you can predict your monthly payment and better manage your monthly cash flow. In most instances, your interest rate will be lower with a secured term loan than with a secured line of credit, or an unsecured credit option such as an unsecured business line of credit or business credit card. Using a revolving line of credit provides the money you need when you need it. Most times, a line of credit is used to cover short-term expenses like payroll or inventory. With a business line of credit, you're approved for a specified credit limit and interest is paid on the amount that you use. It is a revolving credit line, so once you repay the amount you have used, that amount becomes available again for future use. Before applying for a loan or line of credit, it's beneficial to evaluate your creditworthiness. Your credit report is documentation of your credit activity, your credit accounts, and how responsibly you have paid them over time. A good credit score, typically a FICO score above 700, can make getting a loan or line of credit easier and help you qualify for lower interest rates. But don't worry if you have a bad mark on your credit report. You still have options. Getting a secured loan or line of credit is one way to boost your appeal if your credit score is less than ideal. A secured loan or line of credit allows you to pledge an asset as collateral, and therefore gives some security to the lender. Offering collateral, such as accounts receivable, equipment, vehicles, personal home, is a way to secure a loan. The type of collateral pledged is typically tied to the purpose of the loan or line of credit. For example, there are equipment loans. With equipment loans, lenders typically finance most of the cost of your needed equipment if you are able to justify the cost by the additional revenues the equipment will provide. Unsecured business loans and lines of credit are supported by your creditworthiness and are obtained without the use of any collateral. Another type of borrowing option you can pursue is a U.S. Small Business Administration (SBA) loan. As an SBA preferred lender, BB&T partners with the SBA to offer you a variety of flexible borrowing options, which can make it easier for you to repay your loan and put more cash back into your business. Additionally, SBA borrowing options reduces the risks for lenders and in turn makes it easier for businesses to get loans. Benefits of SBA loans include lower down payments, longer terms that provide a lower monthly payment, and competitive rates. Before agreeing to any loan, be sure that the terms of the business loan align with your expected cash flow and allow you to meet the payment terms on schedule and in full. Meeting the terms of your loan will allow you to continue to establish a positive credit history in your business's name.
Awesome. So yeah, that video basically showcased and talked about the different borrowing options that are available for business owners, and when they're deciding of which route to choose and which area to go, it's important that they assess what the need is and how it will be utilized, and what they need that particular loan or line of credit to do. As mentioned before, having your personal credit underway and in good condition is a really good precursor on having a positive outcome with a loan application. You want to make sure that anything that needs to be addressed on there, whether it's late payments or high credit balances, if you're able to get them down, that way that can position put your credit score in a better position there. Determining which type of credit you have, if you're looking for a term loan versus a revolving line of credit, looking at unsecured versus a secured loan, how much do you expect to have, what documentation will I need for the loan? All these are good conversations to have when you sit down with a banker and are even thinking about ways of helping increasing the capital or producing capital to help expand your business. So, Andreas, I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
Yes, Brian. So in regards to establishing credit, especially around a small business, one of the good tools that you want to look into is a business credit card. That's one of the things that I know the video didn't touch too much on, but that's one of the things that you really want to consider, especially in establishing some business credit if you haven't done so. You may have personal credit, which is great, but the importance is also to have business credit since the lender will be looking at both. And so that's one good tool to have. Another good reason to have a business credit card is you can use it for everyday expenses. Instead of using your business debit card at times, most credit card providers will give you points or travel rewards, things like that. And so at the end of the day, you'll get some bang for your buck. So it'll help you with your getting some money in. With the lines of credits, you want to consider that that's just really for working capital. Something like they mentioned on the video, it's for payroll purposes. If you need to purchase some supplies or things like that, just to kind of get you by, and then just pay that off. That's just more of an immediate thing. More of a business loan is you want to term it out. So you want to do it for a specific term. It usually has a lower rate. Sometimes it'll have collateral that you're required, or if it's not, sometimes you can do an unsecured loan, but at the same time, it's just for a specific term, and it's just it's a longer term goal. That could be for you may want to finance of equipment, any type of vehicles, or even type of real estate. So that's what the term loans are for. Lines of credits are more on the spot. Keep in mind that lines of credits are linked with prime, so there are variable rates. And then also keep in mind that there's closing costs for each type of lending product that you may apply for.
And I know too. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I'll add too that it touched towards the end a little bit about the Small Business Administration loans, and just to share that BB&T is a partner with the SBA, and that can also be an alternative solution if you're turned away from conventional ways of getting loans and lines of credit for your business. So, with the SBA loan, we work with SBA as far as seeing if there's a viable solution here to provide for a line of credit, for a loan. The process varies slightly. There may be more information required. A business plan may need to be submitted when you're when you're working with a SBA loan, but it can definitely be well worth it if you're really trying to exhaust all options.
Yep, and just to piggyback real quick on that, I've found that I've helped some of my business clients where they wanted to just get a small line of credit, and they've only had 1 year of being established for their business. So that's one route. You do have to have a strong credit history on the personal side to them to see if they can consider and getting you something, a small line of credit or a small loan. That way down the road, once you've established that creditworthiness on the business side, you can potentially apply for even higher amounts. So that's something that you can also have as an option. Any questions?
There was a question on the basic alternatives to loans. So I'll just add. I mean, generally the traditional way that banks businesses secure funding is through loans. The first place businesses will typically look is through their own investment, through friends and family. Crowdsourcing, I think, is with Kickstarter and apps like that have become pretty challenging to keep up with because there is so much competition now. I mentioned in the chat Honeycomb, which is actually kind of crowdsourcing, but instead of people giving and donating money, they're actually lending you money. So if you have a community of supporters, that's an interesting thing to consider. There's always angel investments depending on your industry. But if you're growth minded and funding is important, a bank loan, a line of credit, taking advantage of CDFIs, which are basically nonprofit lending institution that come with they may come with some technical assistance, maybe some higher interest rates in exchange. If your credit's not as high, those are some other options.
Jamie, just to kind of piggyback on that, I found that even through, if you have a lot of volume through merchant services, those merchant service providers may even do a loan. So I'm not really an expert on how that works, but just know that is also an option.
Yeah.
So for example,
yeah, if you use PayPal, for example, quite actively, there may be a point where PayPal will reach out to you and offer you a loan or a line of credit. It's not necessarily public, so there's not a number that you can look to, but that's something that they do offer with some of their businesses.
Correct. Yeah. Right, I think that brings us to the end of the presentation.
Yeah, that's the end there. I thank you all in attendance with us today and going over this growing your business. So hopefully there's some takeaways, and I'll forward Jamie some additional links that can provide us a great resource to help you with a business plan and furthering ways in which you can help develop and grow your business.
Yes, and I want to thank you all for just taking time out of your day and for having us. Really excited to be with you guys today. Hopefully you got some knowledge out of it. And then just don't hesitate to reach out if you have any other additional questions. Just know that this is, for Brima and myself, this is something that is new. We had to pivot, and normally these presentations are done, in front of you, but with nowadays we just have to pivot and just go with technology. So I thank you all for your patience.
Hey guys,
the new normal.
Thank you guys as well. This is Shay for having us. Jamie, thank you for hosting this. And gentlemen, you guys did, and ladies, you guys did a great job with the presentation. As you heard Andres, you heard Brahman said, one of the things we definitely preach is a partner plan action. So to create that business plan right now, making sure that you have the right partners in place, especially on the banking side, is really, really important at this time. We definitely want to hear from you. And I do know that we will be sharing our information with Jamie for her to be able to share with you guys as well. So definitely feel free to set up those free consultation, have that conversation. Regardless of whether or not you bank with us, it's free. So that's one of the best things we could do at this time. But thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you all for joining. We appreciate it. I'm going to post in the chat box, like I mentioned, our resource page. So you can get those links. I'm also going to first post a survey for today's webinar that we're required to have completed. Let me get that link for you. And please feel free to, if you have any last questions, you can ask them.
Hey, Jamie, that website that I sent to you earlier today, can you, if you want to, can you share that as well with the?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yep, there we go. Okay, so we posted the BB&T page, we posted our resource page and the survey, and we'll also email you some links in a follow-up email. Thank you for joining us, all the attendees, and thank you to our panelists from BB&T. We really appreciate your time today. We know you're busy with all of the PPP lending that's going on, so thank you so much. And we hope everyone has a good evening and a relaxing and healthy dinner.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Be well, guys. Take care.
Bye now.